We are back this time for chest day. So we're gonna start same as usual. It's always the 30 rep work. So we gotta do 3 sets of 30 on this. I'll do 30. Last time I did 25 and then 30. So I usually do like a lighter one for the first and then I'll go a little bit heavier. So this time I'm gonna bump both of them up by 5, do 30 and 35. So we'll see. Right. All right, yeah, we definitely got the 35s. That was honestly cheesed. I think I successfully scared away everybody in this area because now I have the whole place to myself, which is nice because the music doesn't play super loud here. So if I talk to the camera, then everybody's just going to hear exactly what I'm saying. And that's a little bit awkward. So, all right, the 30s was super smooth on that. So we'll go up to 35, do 2 more sets of that. I forgot to do like my typical shoulder warm up. Honestly, don't do anything too crazy for warm ups in terms of upper body. Usually, all I'll do is just like warm up the shoulder a little bit, and I'll do some like arm circles, and then I do this thing that I saw Chris Bumstead do, where you're kind of like, I don't, I'm not sure if I'm exactly doing it the way that he's doing it, but you're essentially just like taking the shoulder through its like entire rotation and like stretching out. And low key, you can feel a little bit of snap, crackle, pop action doing that. So I forgot to do that, and I had my music off when I was doing the last set. I could literally hear my right shoulder just like grinding. Did not sound good. So warm up a little bit, and hopefully this one won't have the same issue. Sweet. That's definitely a solid place to be at. We should be able to go up maybe 2.5 next time, but that was a good spot. Was definitely starting to feel it towards the end. One thing I'm really trying to think about on this high rep work is I'm trying to get a better connection with the chest because I feel like I'm very front delt dominant on all my pressing movements. So when I first started adding this and flat barbell bench back into my program, I was noticing my chest would barely feel sore and my front delts would just be toasted the next day. It's got bad because I have to train shoulders tomorrow. So that was affecting me. It's been slowly getting better. I'm just trying to work on the connection to my chest. So instead of just thinking about pressing and like pushing the weight up, I'm just trying to think cueing my biceps together. So the chest is going to function same as like on a fly, like bringing the upper arm to the midline. It's going to be that essentially same function doing dumbbell bench. So it's the cue we're thinking about. Low key. All right. So I came from doing like an upper lower program for the longest time, doing that and torso limbs. And the first program that I was doing with my coach was usually like 2 muscle groups in a session. So I do like back and something else. And I was getting 2x frequency. Well, it was a little bit less than 2x frequency, maybe 1.5. But this program is like actually like an individual body part every different day. And I'm doing 5 days a week. So I'm only getting 1x frequency, but honestly, it's kind of fun. Like, I'm enjoying it. You can kind of just rinse the muscle and not really have to worry about fatigue. So I just go ham on everything. I've been having fun with the training, so it's pretty solid. One thing that's kind of hard for me is leaving reps in reserve, just because I'm used to going to failure or pretty much failure on almost all my sets. And in my current program, I'm not supposed to do that at all. My last set's supposed to be, I think, 1 to 2 IRR, and I don't know. For me, it's hard to leave a few reps off, so I need to get a little bit better with that. But honestly, I feel like if your programming is set up right, you're usually not going to be majorly in a bad position if you're taking a lot of stuff to failure. As long as you're still progressing, I don't think it's an issue. And I think people overrate the whole fatigue aspect of it a little bit too much. Yes, the last rep might not be the most stimulating for muscle growth in comparison to the other ones, but it's going to definitely have an additional trade-off in terms of fatigue. But I don't know. I feel like unless you're really, really advanced, you're still not able to tap into the level of intensity that's just going to put you in an entirely taxed position. So I wouldn't be worried about it too much, but it is something I'm trying to like work on just as a skill. Just as training to failure is a skill, training not to failure is also a skill that you want to learn and get better at. So, all right. Yeah, that's a perfect spot for this. Definitely challenging, but we're not really grinding for the last reps, which is the exact spot we want to be. So next up, we got incline dumbbell flies. I'm gonna have to go to the other section because I'm doing like increments of 2.5 on that, and this doesn't have the 17.5, 22.5, 27.5, and 37.5 that I need for those sets. So I'm gonna have to go to the other area. Oh my gosh. Dude, that set felt like an eternity. I know I said this in some of the other videos, but it really is like so much fun to just take progressions so quickly on the high rep work, just because it's like something I'm really not accustomed to. I remember the first program that we were on was doing a lot of superset work, and one of the shoulders, I was doing lateral raises, and then I'd superset them into dumbbell press, and literally I couldn't even do the 5 pound weights. I had to do the shoulder press with my arms because like I just didn't have the muscular endurance to get that many reps in. So we've definitely come a long way since then, and I think when I was starting off with this, I was doing maybe 10s or 7.5s for the 30 rep set on incline, and like now I'm doing like the 17s was really easy. I probably could have done maybe 20, maybe even these 22s, we'll see for next time. But it is really fun to take those. I'm building that functional muscle, and it's not. That's not how it works. Alright, I think I need to focus a little bit more on the form here because now I'm starting to feel a lot of delts and not enough chest. So I think I just gotta take a second to readjust on that.
So she said, I will take that off your hands. Bingo. Yes. She started out not thinking she was. And I'm telling you right now, I think so much good on spiritual. Yes. No one knows that. But that's what we found. Really great one-on-one. Really great.
Alright, that was definitely a little bit better. I was just thinking about contracting the chest almost before I start the movement, and I think that's helping to isolate a little bit more. Alright, we got one more set of these. I'm up to 37 and a half. And then we'll be on to the fly machine, which I have a very specific one that's really solid. Unfortunately, I'm still feeling the after effects of whatever was going on with my neck that day on legs. And I think it's a combination of I haven't had like proper sleep for the past 3 or 4 days. Like, it's been getting a little bit better, but it's still not optimal. And two, for some reason, my body just seems to contort itself in these very weird positions when I go to sleep. So, for example, sometimes I'll wake up and it literally feels like my wrist is broken because for some reason I just chose to sleep like this with like my arm like pressed against like the covers while I'm wrapped in there super tight. I don't know. I just do stupid stuff like that, or like I'll be like this. I don't know. It's just really dumb. But I'll wake up and just something is just hurting, or that shit pisses me off. But yeah, it's almost like I have like a knot in my upper trap that's been kind of bothering me. So hopefully that gets resolved in the next few days because I don't know. It's just kind of a little bit of a dampener when I'm training. All right, we'll do one more set on this. Okay, dude, I was like, I could have done like 4 or 5 more, so we'll definitely bump that up next time. All right, I had to wait a little bit to get this machine finally, but that had me thinking: if you have an exercise program, should you wait if somebody's on the machine, or should you just do something else? I think it just depends. If you have the time to wait and you don't have to wait too long, like you're not waiting like 15 plus minutes and losing kind of like the blood in the muscle and everything like that, I think it's worth just waiting. I have like plenty of time, so I don't mind waiting for a person to finish and then hop on the same machine. But if you're in a time crunch and you need to do like a fly, you can get that done in multiple different ways. Like you can go to dumbbells, you can go to one of the other machines, you can do pretty much anything as long as you're training the same joint action. might be a little bit harder to track, again, your progress, but remember, progressive overload is something that we're tracking over time as a sign of, is our programming working? Not, we need to get better numbers in order to grow. So if you take one little break from an exercise for a session, you could still come back and end up doing more weight the next time because you're still getting stimulus. And if it provided enough for growth, that's going to translate to a better lift on the same machine when you come do it next time. So, anyways, my range of motion is getting better on my pecs because the stretch is feeling easier and easier. All right. All right. Damn. Dude, we are getting way stronger. Maybe not necessarily stronger, but we're getting way adapted to the training that we're doing right now because that was significantly easier than last time, and I have the weight. So we'll bump that up for next time. Also, the reason I like this machine over the other, like fly machines, the one where you're holding the handles, I find that when I'm loading pretty heavy on those other ones, I get a lot of, especially my right shoulder, it's almost like the tendon right here gets strained a lot. I don't know. I think my shoulders for some reason have like different degrees of internal and external rotation, and one, I think my right shoulder sits rolled forward a lot, which can kind of put it in a little bit of a compromised position on some of the flies. So on this one, you don't have to hold anything, and you can literally just focus about bringing the biceps together. So that's just like a little preference thing. If you're having issues on flies, I'd recommend trying one where you don't have to hold the handles, or adjusting those so that you can put um, the handle further on your inner arm. All right, let's go. Too easy, man. You will take a progression there. Dude, when you're in the gym and everything's just like flying, like every exercise, every set, you're seeing progression. It has to be one of the greatest, most motivating feelings. But the reality is, there's also times that you come to the gym and that's not the same, and you have to learn how to enjoy the other aspects of training. Because if you're always chasing the logbook and that's what your adherence to the gym and training is tied to, you're not going to go very far because when you actually get to an advanced level, it's going to be very rare that you take consistent progressions, and you have to get used to that and just be in love with the process. So I'm fortunate that I'm still relatively newbie, and I'm definitely doing a different type of training that I'm not used to. So I'm getting that additional dopamine stimulation. Honestly, right now, I hate taking rest days. When I was on doing torso limbs, I'd enjoy taking the rest days. I'd enjoy only having to train 4 days a week or 5 days a week, mostly 4 days a week. Sometimes it would be even three. But right now, I have to train 5 days a week and I have to take 2 rest days. And especially since my whole body is in fatigue because I'm doing individual muscles in each session, I hate taking rest days. I want to be in here and train every day, and that's like a really fun feeling to have. So, all right, in the set. a little bit more challenging. I'm trying to think if we can go up or next time on that one. Yeah, I think we can push it. The way I progressed this one, for some reason, it doesn't have the pin to do the incremental ones. So the stacks have pretty big jump uh, increments between them. So I'm just using my gym pin again, like I did on the leg extension last time, to get like another. I need to figure out how much exactly it weighs, but I think it weighs about like 5 pounds or something like that. So we'll go up one more, do the last set, 8 reps on that one, and then we will be on to flat barbell bench press. That was way too easy. Yeah, we could definitely take more progressions there. I'm happy with that. One thing I'm really trying to focus on is when I'm doing these. A lot of people would like arch their back and like get like this on flies. Just want to try to keep everything stacked and maintain your torso stacked over your pelvis. Essentially, it's just going to give you like a more stable base and prevent you from doing some things where you overcompromise. I especially have an issue where one of my left pec I can't really connect to and contract as well as my right one. So for example, like when people do like the pec bounce thing, usually they'll have like one side that they're able to connect to a little bit easier, maybe get a little bit shorter. And for me, it's my right side. So almost when I'm doing these, I want to be very conscious that I'm not overcompensating with the right. So I almost think about driving more with the left, and I'm really trying to get that connection there so I can contract it a little better, which I think is going to translate to my posing because again, a lot of times like when I do like my most muscular, for example, my right pec will be contracted without me even thinking about it, but my left pec will just be hanging, and it looks kind of weird because it's like kind of a little bit of an imbalance. Uh, so I'm just trying to work on that. We'll go on to flat bench press, which we're doing way less weight than we have previously. Before I was like a little bit over 315, but I was also super fat. And one thing is on presses, when you're really fat, it's very advantageous because it cuts the range of motion and gives you way better internal leverages. But now I'm a little bit leaner, so I'm a lot leaner than what I was. So I have a way deeper range of motion and I just don't have like that same stability that gives me a good platform to push off of. But that doesn't mean that you've lost contractile tissue just because you're doing less weight on the same exercise, and leverages have changed. And your muscle doesn't know what the weight on the bar is, it just knows tension and being challenged. So don't worry about that too much. And if you're in a cut and you're trying to determine how your progress is maintaining, I would look to a different exercise than the flat bench press, especially if you're cutting large amounts of weight. So yeah, well, let's go warm up there and get that done. All right, I just hit my warm up set on this. So now I got 3 sets of 6, and none of them are to failure, but usually my last one ends up being around like 1 RIR, maybe sometimes failure. Um, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done flat barbell press until I had it in this program. And one thing I will say is like when I first saw it in my program, my initial reaction was, oh, I don't really like that exercise. I feel like I connect better with some other machines that are in the gym, and I wanted to swap it out. But my coach said, I think we should keep it in. And I think, honestly, I'm glad we did because at first, again, like I was talking about earlier, I'm very front delt dominant on my presses. And I was noticing that when I was doing this in decline press, my delts were just getting really taxed and it was affecting my shoulder sessions the next day. So instead of just quitting on the exercise and going to something else, we are looking at it and trying to see what kind of cues I can do or how I can change up my form to maybe adapt it to be a little bit more chest focused. Because again, training is like a skill, and the better you can get at the skill, the more you can get out of different exercises and movements. Because for example, like when you go to a gym, pretty much everywhere has a barbell. Not everywhere is going to have the best machine that you really enjoy training on. So if you develop your ability to train with just typical exercises like this and get the most out of it, then you can maximize what you're able to do with what you have. So this is definitely feeling a lot better. And I think the cues that I've been working on are one, focusing on pushing through the base of your palm on this side rather than from the outside. And two, adjusting your hand position and your elbow position to best align with your anatomy to press with the chest. So some people that's going to be a little bit wider out, some people that's going to be a little bit more narrow. And another thing is like a lot of people will have issues of their triceps taking over a lot um, on presses. Like for example, TNF talks about how he's super tricep dominant, so he took pressing out of his programming entirely for a while and was doing wing glides, but he added it back in. So there's merit to both approaches, and it just depends on the context and where you are in your training.
My bad. I don't
What's
want to be
up?
cutting
No,
the
you're
bit,
good.
bro.
You're good. No worries. Chest. Yeah. Yeah. So for people that are very tricep dominant, I think it usually is going to have one a little bit to do with the hand position that you take and where your elbows are coming in the body. The closer it is, the more likely you are to be pressing with the triceps. And two, also what you're used to. So, for example, my coach talks about how he grew up playing basketball. And in basketball, you're essentially doing a movement that is kind of almost like a tricep press. Because you're passing the ball a lot, you're like dribbling, and you're doing a lot of elbow extension. So when he got on the bench press, his body knows how to extend the elbow with the tricep. So that's what it's like preferential movement pattern is when you're utilizing an exercise like this. So it's something that you have to think about different cues to try to essentially retrain your body to movement if you want to get something else out of it. So that's just something I've been working on. We'll see how this goes. Okay, that was super easy. That was probably like 3 RIR, which is good because I'm up in weight since last time. Last time I did 62 on each side, and this one's 65 on each side. And I had less RIR last time as well, so that is a good progression. That's feeling way better. I've been doing bench for about a month now, and it's been feeling relatively unstable, a little bit uncomfy on the shoulder, and just I feel like my bar path isn't super smooth. So that's why I've just been really trying to control it. Previously, when I was doing bench like a while ago, and I was like really chasing higher numbers on that, I was doing a lot of just whatever it takes to get the weight up, using everything I can, and I'll often like bounce, not bouncing super hard, but I definitely use a little bit of momentum, and I wouldn't be pausing on the bottom. But like now, I'm really just trying to think doing the movement to target the chest. So again, I'm thinking of cueing the biceps rather than just pushing up and trying to use all the musculature that I have to do the lift. And it's feeling really good, so I'm happy with the progress here. Set 2. That's super easy, bro. The weight is flying way easier than last time. All right, final set. So the last two were pretty much around 3 RAR. I probably could increase the weight on this one, but because I have so much volume already for the chest today, I'm not super worried about taking it all the way to failure. I'm getting plenty of stimulus from all the exercises in total and all the sets. So I can probably just go a little bit harder on the decline press that I do after today, and we'll be good. So aiming for another 6 here. And if I had to guess, I think it'll be like 2 or 3 RIR again, just because the other sets haven't been that taxing. The further away from failure you are, the less taxing it's going to be, and the higher kind of work capacity you have in the preceding sets. Yeah, that's like 3 RR again. Very easy sets. All right, hopefully we'll just go a little hard on decline today, and then we'll be done for chest. We got 3 sets of 10 to 12 on the decline hammer strength press. And then we are out for today. Honestly, very good session overall. Took progressions on everything, and we're ready to bump up the weights again for next session. So I'm very satisfied with that. It's nice for things to finally be going smoothly again, just because there was a while towards the end of my cut where training wasn't as enjoyable. There was days that would be good sessions, and then there was days that would be terrible. And I think a lot of it was due to the fact that I was doing a fair amount of yo-yo dieting because my this was my first time being at the level of leanness that I was, even though it still wasn't incredibly lean. I wasn't ready, and I didn't have the tools to handle the food focus, and I would just do like some crazy binges. Honestly, at times I'd just go like to all you can eat sushi and do some ridiculous things, and then I would end up over restricting for the following days. And this is going to just absolutely destroy your training performance. Yo-yo dieting, I think, is one of the worst things that you can do for that, just because you're putting an excessive amount of stress on your body, and it really has no idea what to do or how to handle or be able to anticipate the inputs that you're going to put in. So it just doesn't give you a consistent output, and your training performance will suffer, and you'll definitely be at risk for muscle loss, which I think towards the end of my cut, I probably did lose a little bit of muscle that I'm gaining back now, which maybe has a little bit to do with the rate that I'm progressing at now. But we'll see. I'm just trying to rinse this as much as I can for as long as I can and see where I can get to. So, oof. And I was gonna only go point. I was only gonna go up 5 on each side next time, but I just did 12 on every single set with at least 2 RR on all of them. So I think I'll go up 7.5 next time. Things are moving smooth. really need to work on my men's physique poses because those are severely lacking. I feel like I can hit, I mean, all my poses still need work, but I think I can still hit the classic ones decently well. But my men's physique ones, I'm like really bad at them. I need to learn how to crunch down on the abs while keeping the chest and shoulders and lats under. I don't know why, but from the back, I have good like lat width, but from the front, I don't know. I feel like we're lacking. We could definitely be better there. But overall, good session. I'm happy with the spot we're at. So that'll be a wrap. My neck is still like bothering me. It was honestly kind of ticking me off on some of those last presses there, but hopefully that gets resolved soon. I'm playing tennis tonight, and usually I've noticed that like playing tennis, maybe just like the active motion of like getting the body moving in the max range of motion, using like momentum to reach those uh, ranges of motion. I feel like it helps a little bit, so hopefully that'll kind of fix a little bit of the tightness in my neck, and then we'll see tomorrow because I have shoulders, and on shoulders, if my neck is messed up, it's usually real bad, and that's when I get into like a dangerous spot of getting like cricks in the neck. So hopefully we are good to go and recover tomorrow. But yeah, see you next time.